Shamik Das from Kolkata holds Lal Path Labs. Let's listen into his query.
Hello Udayan, this is Samik Das from Kolkata. I have 60 shares of Dr. Lal Path Labs bought at 2,960 rupees, 2960. I wanted to ask if I can hold the stock for the next 5 years.
Well, you actually haven't bought very much higher than the current market price. I mean, a lot of people have bought Dr. Lal at 4,000 and they're stuck with it because the stock's down well over 30% in the last 6 months. It's been a very poor performer, uncharacteristically, because the last 3-4 years have been very good for that name, but the last 6 months have not been. I think part of the issue, of course, is the kind of increased competition the sector is seeing. Now a lot of the large hospital chains like Max and Fortis, and even some of the large online pharmacy chains are getting into the diagnostics or the testing market. And that probably means that there will be price competition and margins of Dr. Lal might come under pressure. I mean, one good case in point is that Dr. Lal has not been able to raise prices, diagnostic prices over the last 3 or 4 years. While its margins have not come down immediately, that is the fear which is leading to some kind of underperformance for the stock, and of course the fact that it's a 50 PE stock. But I think it's a steady one, and given its sample collection infrastructure built over many years, which is very difficult to replicate for many of these new entrants into the business, I think it's premature to write Dr. Lal off. So it might underperform for some more time, but eventually once valuations catch up, given that it should continue to grow at 20% plus, I think Dr. Lal probably belongs to a long-term portfolio. Diagnostics as a space will continue to do well in the years to come. I think it had probably got too expensive, and therefore some of these margin concerns are leading to a valuation adjustment as well.
Okay, Jatinder Singh from Delhi holds Tata Communications, and he's also a long-term investor. Listen in.
Sir, I have purchased 200 share of Tata Communication at the rate of 1248. And I can hold it for at least 2 years. Please tell me the prospects of it. Thank you, sir.
It's an interesting space. I mean, as you know, Tatacom is the erstwhile VSNL, but there are not too many comparable stocks you will find to Tata Communications in the market, because it provides international connectivity to enterprises. Some of these segments, like the services and the digital segment, are actually growing quite fast within the international connectivity part. I think the problem with Tatacom is one of its very large segments, which we call SIP trunking, which is called SIP trunking. It's like a virtual telephone call. That segment is degrowing, and that is leading to some kind of plateauing of growth or constriction of growth for Tata Communications. But I think given the kind of next-gen connectivity, international connectivity, which all enterprises are looking at, and Tata Communications is trying to get involved in, it should be a good space going forward as well, and I don't see a situation where Tatacom, despite the SIP trunking issue, will struggle to grow at 20% plus. It's not a very expensive stock, by the way. It's only at about 20 PE. So I think for people who want to keep this as a theme in their portfolio, as a solid compounder over time, I think it probably belongs to that portfolio. So if you can take a little bit of volatility in your stride, which happens with Tatacom, it might be an interesting one, or at least a solid building block of a longer term portfolio. None of these are buy recommendations, by the way, but just an assessment of the fundamentals of these companies.